What if your symptoms are actually sacred symbols? In this episode, we're diving into a revolutionary, a new approach to healing autoimmune and stress related symptoms. Not with more meds, mindset hacks, but by turning joy back on in your body. Our guest is a nurse turned energy medicine practitioner who bridges science and soul to help women heal emotionally, physically, and ancestrally through metaphysical anatomy, quantum keys, and primordial practices. She guides you home to your most resilient self. If you've been searching for answers and craving a lasting transformation, this is the medicine you didn't even know you needed. Hi, and welcome to the You World Order Showcase podcast, where we feature life, health, and transformational coaches stepping up to be the change they seek in the world. I'm your host, Jill Hart, the Coach's Alchemist, on a mission to help coaches and entrepreneurs amplify their voice and monetize their mission, leveraging podcasts and Substack. Today, we are chatting with Tash McCormick. Tash is a nurse and an energy medicine practitioner who empowers women with autoimmune and stress related symptoms to reconnect with their bodies and reclaim their joy. With a unique blend of medical expertise and deep intuitive wisdom, she guides clients through personalized one on one and group journeys that address the emotional, energetic, and ancestral root causes of disease. Welcome to the show, Tash. It's great to have you here.
Thank you so much. Holy introduction. I'm like, woo! I'm buzzing. The joy in
Are
my
you
body's
feeling it?
on, that's for sure. Holy, thank you so much.
Well, thank you for joining us and sharing all this with us.
Yes, you're
So, are
so,
you
so
ready for the
welcome.
big question?
All right.
Okay. So, what's the most important, significant thing? What's the most significant thing, in your opinion, as individuals, we can do to make an impact on how the world is going?
Be more present. Be in the moment. Be in your body. Be in the bee. You're asking about my necklace. It's a bee. Because really, if you see a bee, it's so natural to like swoop it away. Right? What if you actually looked at the bee? What is the bee doing? What is the bee saying? Right? It's just really being more present and having that love, because it really takes us in the moment. It takes us out of the fear, it takes us out of the doubt, it takes us out of the worry, right? It really brings us into love and acceptance, and to really, as much as you can, accept the moment, um, instead of just swooping it away. Even if it's labeled negative or bad or awful or all those things that we like to, put those labels and judgments on. What if we could actually just lean in to the moment that's happening and just be more present to it? I truly believe that. And vulnerability of how you're feeling in those moments, that is absolutely healing the planet.
I have a great story that goes with this. When I first started keeping bees many years ago,
Mm.
I didn't know anything about it, as usual, when I start stuff.
Yeah.
So I got the frames because you keep bees in hives, and in the hives, it's like a file cabinet. There's what they call frames, and you're supposed to put foundation in those frames. But I didn't know that. I thought, oh, bees make the foundation. They put the combs in there, and so I stick my bees in there, and I managed to do it without getting stung. And but I didn't have foundation in there, but I had all these frames. And so I leave them alone and I come back in a couple of weeks and I'm looking inside, examine my bees and make sure they're safe. And I don't know what I thought I was going to do to help them because I didn't know anything. And they apparently knew what they were doing, but they laid their honeycomb sideways across all the frames. The frames are what you take out so you can harvest the
Right.
honey. And I'm thinking, oh man, I screwed this up.
Yep.
It was so fascinating to watch them and to really look at a bee. You can see their little pollen baskets when they're moving around, and to watch a bee be born, because
Oh, wow.
they come out of the little combs and the honeycombs, and it's just, bees are such fascinating beings. I love that. That's that you started with that, because that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
Being, just taking advantage of the situation as it comes and just being. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Hmm.
Perfection doesn't always necessarily look like what you think it's going to look like.
Exactly. And I love the synchronicity because I had no idea that, you obviously were like this beekeeper as well. So I love that. And I feel like the more that we really are present in the moment, in our minds, in our bodies, in our spirits, this more synchronicities come, right? Like the synchronicities are, natural. They're like the norm. Like, what if synchronicities were just so normal that it didn't even surprise you anymore, right?
Yeah, I love that. And it happens to me all the time. I mean,
Exactly.
I'll be thinking about somebody and I've gotten to the point in my life where if I'm getting a message, and I can call them downloads or whatever you want to call them, but I sometimes just have this feeling like I need to reach out to this person. I don't know what's going on, but I'm just going to do it. I'm not going to try to insert myself in their life, but I just
Mhm.
want them to know that I'm feeling that energy that they're experiencing and I got their back, however they need me, or even if they don't need me. I'm acknowledging that this energy is valid and it's okay. And it happens to me all the time that people will come back and they'll be like, yeah, I had this weird thing happening at that time, or I'll um I'll be sending somebody a message and they'll be sending me a message at the same time.
Yeah,
And
yeah, I love those.
stuff like that happens when you're just present.
Yes.
Not,
Yeah, because how many times do you have those moments and then you're like, "Oh, well, I'll do it later," or, maybe that person doesn't want to hear from me, or all those different things that we can, play the monkey mind can kind of come in there sometimes. And how beautiful the things that happen when we do follow through with those. And it's really listening to those nudges, listening to the whispers, right? And this is what I share in the body as well, is when we're listening to the whispers and we're listening to the nudges, if we're not, they turn into, okay, banging at the door. Your body's now no longer whispering or giving you a little nudge or tap on the shoulder. Now it's like knocking on the door, then it's banging on the door, then it's like banging down the door, right? So, what would it take to listen to the whispers, to listen to the nudges before it comes into literally your door getting, broken open, essentially?
so I think you have an interesting story. Do you want to share your story with us? Because you've moved from just straight medicine into a more holistic approach to health and healing.
Yes. So, where do I even start? There's so many different aspects about my story, if you will, I guess. So, where do we want to go with this? Okay. So, yeah, basically started in nursing right from high school. I was going to be a hairdresser with my best friend who's now passed. And her and I were going to go to hairdressing. And then basically my guidance counselor was like, nope, like you're going to college or university or whatever. And so I literally applied the last day, still not really thinking I was going to go. So in my mind, I felt like I fell into nursing. I happened to be working at a nursing home in dietary. And so it was just kind of like, they're like, well, why don't you be a nurse? And I was like, I hate needles. Like, I would literally faint at a needle. It's a whole nother story. And so, anyways, I was like, I don't want to be a nurse. And they're like, oh, it's okay. Like, not all nurses give needles. That is not true. And anyways, it turns out I'm okay to give needles. I just don't like getting them. So basically, right from high school, went to nursing school and then, got a job in nursing. And even when I was in nursing school, it was kind of like, oh my gosh, what am I getting myself into? I didn't really realize the pharmaceutical aspect of it so intensely until my placement at the doctor's office. Because, when you're in a nursing home and you're in the hospital, you're like, okay, yeah, like medications, I guess, are here, right? And you went to the doctor's office and it was like, whoa. First of all, there was Eastside Marrows, this pharmaceutical company came in and basically just brought in more food than anyone could ever imagine from Eastside Marrows and was basically like, I don't even know what prescription they were asking, like what pharmaceutical they were bringing. I just remember the amount of food. So that goes to show what their focus was, right? It wasn't like, hey, let's, in my opinion, as a nursing student at that time, I wasn't seeing this lady representative come in and saying, hey, look at how amazing and transformational this medication is. It was, hey, here's a whole bunch of food. Let's like pump you up and please prescribe our medication. That's what it was from my perspective. So I was like, oh no, what am I getting myself into? And so that was when I was like 21 or 22 or something crazy like that. And so then, the flash forward, all those years throughout nursing, I saw so many diagnoses, so many treatments, so many misdiagnoses, so many mistreatments, and, just tests and this and that. And it was wild to me. And it got to the point where I was having my own symptoms. I was having this recurring shoulder injury, and my menstruation cycle was either non-existent or it was like every day for almost a year, and like abdominal pain and all these different symptoms. And then eventually my appendix burst, and I was so disconnected from my body that I literally didn't go to the hospital for 3 days. So yeah, and they were like, you're a nurse, what are you doing? Like, I was like, So yeah, needless to say, I had an emergency appendectomy. And then, it's 444. And then, yeah, basically I was in the hospital for 10 days. I had a rough recovery. And then got out of the hospital. Weeks later, I was in this car crash. And I still wasn't listening, because I could see the signs, from as long as I can remember. I could see, emotions and experiences coming from people's bodies, and just seeing things that like other people said they couldn't see, if that makes sense. And it was more, and it's not that I wasn't seeing anything that wasn't there. I could just really see what was there sometimes. And so yeah, so it was basically going through that. And nothing, I wasn't following this. I was like, okay, cool, thanks. I hear you. I see you. Not interested. I'll deal with you later, right? I'm just going to keep going on with my life. And then I got full body psoriasis. And I could not hide that. Everybody that looked at me could see that I was completely covered in bright red, patchy, from my neck, sometimes on my face, all the way down to my ankles. It was the worst thing ever. Not even so much physically, emotionally though. So that's when I was like, okay, I am not going the, Western society's medicine route. I did do all the things though, right? And basically until I exhausted all resources and tests and all these other things, that's when I finally found the energy. The energy world is what I call it. And that's when I really got into my body and the emotions that I had been masking and pushing down inside my body, pretending that they weren't there, basically my whole entire life. And same with being in the medical system. I could see this happening with patients, right? I could see that. And I can see emotions and experiences coming from people's bodies. I could see that happening. And it was just like this correlation that I wasn't ready to quite see, that, hey, not everyone actually sees what you see. And there's this huge gift here. And so once I was able to finally go into my body and look into the emotions and the trauma and all those things that I was pushing down from a childhood, that's when I completely healed, transformed, gone, poof, my psoriasis that had been recurring, right? It wasn't just like, oh, it flared up one time and then it was gone. This was like years of, it would kind of go down and then it would poof completely all over my body again. And then finally, through energy and getting into my body, healed that, among other symptoms as well. And so because I had such a life-changing experience, I was like, I have to share this with everybody. I have to share this with everyone that I know. And that's what I do. And I get really passionate, and people are like, oh, there's crazy Tash, right? But it's just like, oh my gosh, when you know something and something is just so passionate to you, you have to share. And so while I was going through that, I basically had this mental breakdown, which I now call a mental breakthrough. And so I was off of work for an entire year. It was almost a year, just short of a year. And through that time, I had never worked so hard in my life. I literally did all the energy classes I could do, energy classes, courses, events. I went to a yoga retreat in Costa Rica. I did a sound healing retreat in Costa Rica. I did a 7-month mentorship in nature. Like I did all the things, like to the point where it was like that was almost like another distraction. The mindfulness, the meditation, all the things. And so then when I went back to nursing, it was like I can't unsee what I've seen, right? And so those little things that I wasn't quite like correlating before when I was noticing with the patients and stuff, I wasn't able to not see that anymore. I wasn't able, that's all I could see. I was just like, oh my gosh. And then see that, hey, these pharmaceuticals are actually stopping that, right? In my opinion, and not all medication. I'm not completely bashing all medication. That's not what I'm saying here. What I am saying though is that there is an overuse of it, and that's not meant to be long term, and it's not meant to be a first resource. So that's when I really was shifting everything to be more holistic and to really, empower women. Because for me, it was like I had to go to the next appointment. I had to go to this appointment. I had to go to that appointment, this course. Like, what's the next thing? Right. And like on helplines until the next appointment was. So this is where the empowerment comes in, right? Because we're all unique. Not everyone sees emotions and experiences coming from people's bodies or their own bodies. That's okay. We're not meant to. Right. And so what you see and what you hear and what you feel is different than what I see, feel, and hear. And so the empowerment part is really getting in tune and showing you how to get in tune and how to listen to your body, because everyone has their own fun little unique signs and symbols. I loved when you said the word symbols. And also for the universe, right? For what's going on the outside, because our body is literally this beautiful, beautiful portal. And our world, our results, our family, our house, our cars, our everything is this beautiful reflection. And so we get to tap into that in the best way that is for you.
I love that. I'm so happy for you that you have experienced, you've made it through psoriasis, your psoriasis experience, in a way that allows you to empower others who are struggling with it. I have 2 people in my life that had like full on psoriasis. It killed my mother because she went the medical route and she had really good insurance and they medicated her to death. I firmly believe that. My son is also, he is like one of my sons. He has full body. He's had psoriasis since he was probably starting into his teenage years. It started in his scalp and now it's like all over his body. And he's one of those people that's very very stoic in a lot of ways. And even as a little kid, he's got some deep ancestral trauma that came with him. He's always had this. Um, Great human being. He's just nothing bad to say about my son. It's just that since he was a baby, he's done things like sleepwalked and had nightmares. There's no reason for the nightmares. I mean, he slept with me his whole life. I mean, he never slept in a crib. He slept in my bed until he was like 12. So it was like the only thing that I can think of is that he brought stuff with him or something attached to him. I don't know. One of those 2 things. And he's still struggling with it. As a mom, I can see it.
Yeah, and as a mom, that's really tough to watch your son go through those things, even especially from like a baby, right? When he's not able to tell you what's going on,
Mhm.
to share that with you. And thank you for sharing. And this is where I really feel vulnerability is healing the planet, because the psoriasis story is not something I have shared until like this year. And this
It's
is
huge.
right. And that's how we got connected. Like that, right? This is how we started chatting. So, and then you're sharing, your mother's story, and letting that live on, and sharing your son's story, and letting him, his story and journey, shine through as well. And so this really is like, if you're listening with us, just this is your reminder, this is your permission slip, this is your invitation to, if there's something where you're like, oh my gosh, I have this story that I really don't want to share, share it.
There's somebody out there that really needs to hear it.
Like, needs to hear it. Like, life changing, needs to hear it, your story.
Mhm.
Right? Even whether you don't think that.
I think my mom she might have lived longer had she had other people that she could, especially women. For women,
Mm,
we're always told you have to, how you look is so important. Really not, but we're told that it is. And when you have psoriasis all over your body, you look like a burn victim.
yeah,
Is really what happens. And it's painful. It's
yeah,
it's not a pleasant experience. And it's just like people stare at you
yeah.
because they don't know what it is. And so, there she was. This is She died 10 years ago. So she probably started her psoriasis journey back in the 90s. I think it also might have been having to do with she was living in Los Angeles and she started down the Epstein-Barr virus pathway. And I think there was some flu shots involved. And I'm
Mm.
not sure if there isn't some connection there that starts this trigger with with psoriasis. Because I know my son got a flu shot when he was like 6. Because I had to get one when I was first pregnant. I got talked into it, and to me, that was like I carry guilt for that.
Well, and this is where it comes in with the that acceptance and compassion, as there's so many people who get flu shots and they're okay, right? Like,
Yep.
it's not, and there's nothing you could have done differently, because if there was something you could have done differently, you would have done it. Like, that's just your reminder too. There's like, you know, even if he didn't get that, like, he was meant to have psoriasis. So no matter what any of your choices were in life, he was meant to get that for whatever reason, right?
Yep.
Doesn't We don't even have to know what those reasons are. But just like, this is where it's so important too, to have that compassion with yourself, because there's literally nothing you could have chose differently to change his outcome. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, and the choices that you made, in fact, helped his outcome, right? You made a lot of different choices than most people do, and that is huge. And so imagine if you didn't make those choices, if you want to go that route, right? Like, instead of being like, oh, I made this one choice, but it's like, actually look at all those other choices that you made that
Yeah.
actually, right?
You can focus on the positive, or you can focus on that one thing that you did that it, it will spiral you down. And so
Yes.
I don't live there. I do accept responsibility for a decision that I made for him that might not have been the best decision. And it might not have had any impact at all.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, so there's that book, The Body Keeps a Score, and he talks about, like, so his example that I remember is saying that smoking causes lung cancer. And it's like, smoking does not cause lung cancer, because if smoking caused lung cancer, every single person that smoked would have lung cancer, right? So
But
it's
that's not true.
right. So that's where the whole, like, this is where metaphysical, this is like a whole, like, crazy rabbit, amazing hole that, nobody has answers. There's all these, different things, and, science around it. And like, there's just so many avenues you can go. It is interesting though that you mentioned that, because so when I had the appendectomy, they had me on these IV antibiotics. And like I drank and I like abused substances really badly, right? Like because I couldn't deal with my emotions, or I didn't think I had anything to deal with, quote unquote. So I was like, any pharmaceuticals, anything like that, I was nay, 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 nay. So other than the drinking and abusing substances, I didn't have any medications. Like that's not something I would ever take. And so then I was pumped with like IV, like high dose antibiotics, like hard. And I feel
Kind of a
that's
big
what
deal.
that was a big deal. Yeah. However, though, like they kept me on it, and like I was in the hospital for 10 days and they just kept me on this. And to the point, like I would take a drink of water and I would vomit. It would look like Coca-Cola. And I was just like I can't even take anything, right? Like nothing is happening. And so literally they finally, because I was like, hey, I don't want this medication anymore, like it's not helping, like whatever. Finally they took me off it, and like 24 hours I was out of that hospital from them taking me off this antibiotics. And I had this little spot on the back of my neck that started in the hospital that then pulled out, like, eventually, shortly after, I can't remember time length, it bolted everywhere over my body. So when you're talking about medications and stuff like that triggering it, like I do feel, and they say like, it's strep and all these different things that can trigger it, which is so interesting. Again, like this dermatologist, he's like, okay, well, I'm just going to give you a standing order of antibiotics. So anytime you think you might be getting strep throat, go on these antibiotics. And I was just like, what? Like, no. So anyways, I did all the things, but I didn't actually do all the things, right? I researched and went through the process, but I didn't do anything they told me to do. So I think there is something there in the sense that, these medications, it's a reaction, it's a response from the body.
Yeah.
Right.
And I can look at him. I know he did the normal prednisone treatment, because that's kind of one of the first things they do for you. He couldn't walk for a week.
Wow.
Like, he's a 6'1" man who has a family to support, and he makes his living as a heavy equipment operator. Took the medication, like it was like a 5 or 6 day series that he was supposed to take. One time on Sunday, Monday he could not walk. He was freaking out.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's done with doctors. He's just gonna let it be whatever it's gonna be.
Yeah, and it's tough because, there is a place for doctors and, acute care, right? Like my emergency appendectomy, right? I would not be here having this conversation with you if there wasn't that in place. However,
Or car accidents, or
or a car accident, right?
break
Exactly.
something.
Yeah.
There's the medical community is really good at emergency trauma care. They struggle with the everyday health aspects, and the more I think that they get involved with that, the worse the population becomes, the more unhealthy it becomes. And rather, instead of directing people back to food, which is like, let food be thy medicine. Well, it should be, because I mean, we're talking real food, not the chemical stuff they put together and tell you is food. And the more that they mess with the food supply, the more unhealthy the population becomes, and the more pharmaceuticals that get sold.
Yeah, and there's a cycle there for sure, that it's like, these people that are making all this money off of it. And it's interesting you brought up food too, because when journeying with me, I don't go into a lot around nutrition. And it's mostly because like I said, I did all the things. I had changed every possible thing, outer circumstance I could, before actually going inside my body and my emotions and all those things, which included food. I did all the different, cleanses, and I cut out everything and, juice cleanses and all the things, right? And it wasn't until the emotions that I actually had the actual changes. And eventually, right? Ultimately, the healing. So I don't journey too much in focusing on food and nutrition. If you're eating, something that's, in whatchamacallit.
If you're eating a lot of fast foods and junk and not paying
Yeah, like
attention
if
to
you're
what you're eating,
overall
then
unhealthy.
you're gonna have problems. That's a given.
Exactly.
By the time you get to Tash, you probably should have looked at your diet first, because fundamentally we are animals and we should know how to eat. I realize this is the big ask these days, but
Yeah.
you can blame your mother for that one.
That's so funny. Yeah, and so it's like more the relationship with food and your not, I don't want to say mindset, but it really is more the relationship with food. So I'll give the example. It's funny that Coca-Cola keeps coming up, but there was somebody, and I was teaching this energy course years ago, and someone was like, oh, basically, like, I drink Coke every single day and it's so bad for me and it's basically like ruining my health. And this person had a lot of health issues and she was like 20, and I was like, you have like the body of like a 80-year-old. Like, it was insane. And so I was like, okay, well, if you're gonna drink Coke every single day anyways, like, that was like a non-negotiable. I was like, okay, cool, like, that's whatever, you do you, right? So if you're gonna drink it anyways, why not change the energy of it and be like, hey, I'm gonna drink this Coca-Cola today because it brings me joy, it makes me feel good, right? And instead of being like, oh, this Coke, and it was almost like this, like, hiding, right? Of like, I have to drink this Coke, like, in hiding, it's so bad for me, I'm just gonna sneak it. But instead be like, hey, own it. Like, I'm gonna drink this Coke, it's making me feel joyful, I'm happy. And then we got a little deeper, and actually it was her mom, when she was a child, drank this Coke and was like, you cannot drink this, to her children, because it's really bad for you, so I'm gonna drink it, but you guys can't have it. And so it's just interesting how, I get the mom, she was coming from a place of love, of sheltering or, not exposing her children to that, yet it didn't work because instead of just, owning the fact that, hey, this is something that I'm doing because it brings me joy.
Smoking
And
is
it
the same
just,
thing.
exactly, right?
Everybody's mom smoked in the old days, and we looked at it as like, it's a rite of passage. You smoke cigarettes and you drank alcohol,
Yeah.
instead of just saying, instead of allowing children to experience it without any stigma around it. When you
Yeah.
first smoke a cigarette, it's awful. It makes your
Yeah.
lungs hurt, it makes your head hurt, it makes you want to throw up. You have to really work to become a smoker. It's not an easy thing. I admire smokers. The ones that are just like, I'm going to smoke no matter what. If you enjoy it, I think it has less effect on you than if you're like, I've got to quit because it's going to kill me. It's the thought, it's going to kill me, is what's killing you.
Yes.
Really, your thoughts are way more powerful than anything you put into your body.
Yes. Agreed. 100%. Yeah.
And there's actual science around that with food and water. I mean, if you bless your
100%.
water, if you're very grateful to your water will do miraculous things in your body. If you are like constantly downgrading stuff, and you tell us stuff, you tell yourself, well, your stuff can hear, like your meal can hear you, that it's going to be bad for you, then it'll make sure that it's bad for you, because it's like doing whatever. We are magic beings.
Yes.
We are capable of tremendous magic in our world that we ignore to our own demise.
Yeah. And I think because it's like, it's not tangible. So we're just like, okay, we need something tangible to look onto. And so a tangible example of what you're sharing is water holds memory, and there's literal science around this, and they can flash freeze water, and you can see the frequencies and the different, like, harmonies of water when you're speaking in love, when you're speaking in gratitude, when different, like, Mozart's and like John Lennon songs and different things. And then
Images.
like literal images. Exactly. Yeah. And then you might think, okay, well, cool, that's just water. Well, then you can take that same water and say not so nice words and play not so nice music. And guess what? The images are completely different. Like you can't make that up. Like it's
And
literal
we're
science.
90%
It's proven.
water.
Exactly. So imagine our bodies holding this memory, right? And it's not even just saying it, like you said, with your thoughts. It's not even just saying it out loud, because our bodies are so powerful that, like, even just thinking these thoughts. And this is where, like, happiness and true joy is when our thoughts and our feelings and our actions are all aligned, right? Like if we're thinking one thing and feeling another way and acting completely different, that's where it's fragmented. That's where the disconnection comes in. That's where the dis-ease happens, right? And so this is why when you're bringing more joy in your life, and it's not that you have to be like, okay, well, I'm just going to quit my job and I'm going to leave my relationship and I'm going to leave my kids because that's not joyful. That's not what we're saying here, right? It's not like you're just going to cut everything off and go live a joyful life. It's actually being present in this life and finding the joy in your life right now. And then if and when there's that chance or that nudge that, hey, like, I'm not telling you to go leave your kids. Like, your kids are amazing and that's great, right? Like, it's tough. It's tough being a mom. It's tough being a dad, a
It's a
parent.
season, though. It's a season.
Exactly. It's
And
a
it passes
season.
so quickly.
It passes so quickly. And so, however, with your job, that is something that you can shift. That is something that you can change, right? And how you are with your kids and your children, that is something you can shift. That is something you can change, right? Okay,
And
well,
it
if
will change them and the way they react to
100%,
you. It just,
absolutely.
you have so much power. You're magic.
Yes. Yeah. And what a gift that we can, share that with our children, right? And just being in nature and being out and, like, yeah, it really is miraculous. And just watching my son, I don't do any like screens or anything like that. He's only 2.5. Like we're just outside all the time, and I don't like say, okay, we have to do this or whatever. We just go outside and what happens happens. And it's amazing what happens. Like watching him is like watching TV for me. Like I could just like stare, and
Yeah.
it's incredible. And especially then watching other children who don't have that, who clearly do not have that. It's like sometimes they don't even know what to do. They're just kind of like, can I do this, or what do we do, right? It's so interesting to see the different dynamics of, yeah, just lifestyle, I guess.
Yeah. Kids are so fun to watch.
They really are.
They're amazing beings, and they will teach you so much if you let them.
If you're watching them and present with them,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then when they're acting out or, misbehaving or all those things, instead of just telling them not to do that or to stop, like, okay, whoa, what's going on here? Right? Again, it's being that present. It's not flying or shooing the bee away, shooing the behavior away, shooing the emotion away, shooing the experience away, shooing the situation, shooing the hurt away. It's being like, oh, okay, ouch, that stung, right? We're again with the bee, that stung, ouch. We can't just unsting ourselves. So what if we could just see that through the emotions, through the experiences, through the traumas, through the all those different things, and just sit with the sting for a minute and then choose differently. Like, you know what? I'm not going to shoot the bee next time because then he got mad and come back and stung me.
I can give you a real life example of this because we take our grandson, he's 4.5, out on Thursdays, and we go and do lots of different things. And he almost always, especially if he's really tired, at the end, there's tears and
Mm,
wailing and gnashing of teeth. And where there have been times in my life I would just be like, suck it up. This is the way it is, and we're going home. I have reached a point in my life where it's just like, yeah, it's sad. And you're welcome to cry. It's not going to change the outcome, but
mhm.
cry if that makes you feel good. or whale or whatever you're going to do. I don't care if the whole park is looking at me. It
Mhm.
just doesn't matter to me at this point in my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And
it lasts for a little while, but he feels heard. Doesn't change the result, but he feels heard.
yeah. And by you allowing that space and allowing those emotions, it's so funny that I just said motion, because energy in motion, they need to be,
It's
right? Emotion
emotion.
is energy in motion. If we're not having that, we get issues in the tissues, right? And so allowing him to have those emotions, it's expressing, so it's going out, it's expanding. When people say stop crying, suck it up, you're fine, oh my gosh, I can't, that's like the worst one. You're fine. They're like, oh, okay, I'm fine. Guess where those emotions go? They go in their body, they get stuffed down, and then the next time they go to have emotions, they don't even come up anymore. So then it's like the vibration of it just stays inside the body. It's like we don't even go out because there's nowhere for it to go. But when we have that space, so that is such a beautiful gift for you to give your grandchild. And it might not change the outcome of you having to leave or not. However, I 100% wholeheartedly believe that changes the outcome of his whole entire life. Right? Even if you're the
Yeah.
only person that does that, even if there's only one person in his life that is you, that does that and allows that space, that is changing the trajectory of his whole entire life.
His mom is really good about it too.
Yeah.
She's so patient. We call her the dog whisperer because this girl, man, when it comes to training dogs, she's amazing.
That's so funny. Well, that takes energy. Like that,
I,
that's a whole nother
she
language.
she's a witch on a different level. I
Love it.
just yeah. I, I don't know. People are so fascinating to me, and they're so gifted in different ways. It's like makes me feel good to get to interact with them. So how do you do your coaching? Is it one-on-one? Is it groups? Is it just in your group, in your community? How does all
Yeah.
that look?
Okay. So, journeying with me, I really do it one to one,
Mhm.
right? I do some group things, and I just did this flow shop, which that was really fun, and I do that in a group sense. And I really like to journey one to one because I find that it's more personal and it's more transformational, because it really is also inviting you to take the time for you, because especially as women, we're not always taking that time for ourselves. So when it's one to one, right, there's no like, oh, well, it's a group thing, so I'll watch the replay, or maybe I'll watch the replay, or I'll watch the replay next week, right? It's like, hey, actually we're showing up one to one, so it's this accountability to yourself, not to me. If you don't show up, that doesn't, right, like it's to you, right? So I really like to journey together one to one, and so we do these through different aspects, and we get it really focused in on what is coming up for you, and it's different for everybody, right? And so this could be, you might come in with a focus of, oh my gosh, I have all these diagnosis or symptoms or whatever is happening in my body. Or you might say, oh my gosh, my business is happening in this way, or motherhood or relationship, right? It could be any of those things. And normally, all those things that we think it is, it actually has nothing to do with any of those things, right? So it's really, you come in with, whatever you think you're coming in with. And it's like, we actually get to go into this beautiful sacred space, and I guide you, right? Empower you, right? I'm not just going in like, oh, we're healing this and healing that. I'm guiding you and witnessing you in this sacred space. And then I see these transformations. I witness these, and I see, and again, to see something tangible, right? I'm literally witnessing the water changing. I've actually never used this analogy before, so this is fun. I love it. Thank you. And so it's like I actually witness your cells and your body and your memory and your emotions. And this is past, present, and future, right? We're in the quantum here. Yeah, I say I'm a nurse, but it's like we're in the quantum here. And so I'm literally seeing those shifts, so that if you were to actually take a photo, just like the science does with the water. It's actually balanced, it's harmonized, it's in the flow, it's in the ease as opposed to dis-ease.
I love that. How long does it usually take with people, or does it depend?
For
to
what?
see transformation like that? How long do people generally work with you in order? It probably depends on like what they're experiencing, but
Yeah, so before I used to do like one-off sessions. Like people would come and it'd be like they'd have one session, they're like, oh my gosh, that was so transformational, thank you so much. And then they go back into their lives and it was more just like a dopamine hit. They were like, oh my gosh, that felt great, and I'm just gonna keep going doing the same thing. Right? It's like wearing white clothes, jumping in the mud, and then like getting all the white out of your clothes, and then be like, cool, like I really like some white clothes, thank you so much, and then going back in the mud. Which that's a weird analogy because I'm pro playing in the mud, but that's just like a visual, right? So this is why now I don't
it's like
really
taking a shower and expecting it to last a week
yeah
or for a lifetime.
our lifetime, exactly, yes. So that's why I don't like, that's why I got away from just doing one-to-one sessions, right? It's like, so now I do sessions, and usually people work with me from anywhere from like 6 weeks to 12 weeks or beyond. But I usually say like minimum 3 weeks, but I think 6 weeks is like, all right, right? Because what are the stats? I forget. It's like a habit. You have to have it for at least like 28 days or 21 or 30 or something along those lines, right? So it's really, we're getting in that sense. So yeah, so, and ultimately, like, it's a lifetime of transformation, right? I'm still going through this journey. I'm still going through these healings and these shifts and all those different things. It's not, there's no like, okay, well, I'm just healed now, so like now I can go play in the mud again. It's like, okay, cool. What's this next beautiful gift that we get to see, right? And it's interesting because when I did this 5-day flow shop last week with the group, I had some serious like body stuff come up that I had to like, so it was really cool. So as I'm going and hosting this and facilitating this 5-day flow shop, I'm literally having to practice what I'm saying to practice, which was so uncomfortable for me. And I wanted to pretend like I was feeling great. And I was like, no, no, no. But then it's like, again, this is where vulnerability is healing the planet. It's like, hey, guess what? I have this symptom right now and it's really uncomfortable. It's really uncomfortable for me to share this because, here we are. And I still wanted to just be like, you know what? I'll listen to it later. Like, I was like, body, I do not have time for this. I'm hosting a 5-day flow shop this week. And then I was like, whoa, 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 Tash, this is what you're hosting it about. Right? So it really is this journey. And that when you're journeying with me again, it's like finding the tools that are specific for you and what's in your medicine pouch, what's in your magical bag, right? So that it's not like, okay, well, here, do this, this, and this. That's not how we journey together, because I did every possible thing that I could find, and there is no one thing. It's catered specifically to you.
I suspect that because you can feel and see the energy of a person, which is your particular gift, that you can kind of like a cook or a chef, they can smell spices with stuff and they can know what it's going to be, what's going to work together because they have some experience with it. Whereas you can take someone and you can look at their energy and you can know intuitively, but intuition is just a different sort of science sense that we have. What needs to be, what that person needs to help them get the best results, and everybody's different, like you said.
Yeah, and how to make it more playful and fun. That's what I really bring into. And I think especially when we're stuck in the pain and the suffering and those things, or maybe you're coming to me too and you're just kind of like, actually, I just want to like level up and embrace it more. That's amazing as well. But like when we're in the space of like not feeling that joy, not feeling that happiness, it's like you're not thinking of the fun, easy ways, right? Because I'm not in here and I'm like, here's like a whole big thing, like a
Here's a list.
exercise
To-do
plan,
list.
right? Exactly. Go do this, eat this, don't say this, do say this, right? Like that's not what we do. It's just really like simple, keeping it simple and fun. And so this is where my emergence is really is like having my nursing, like I know the body, I've had all like, worked over 20 years in healthcare since grade 10. And then having, the energy medicine practitioner, all those different modalities that I have in my medicine pouch, blending that with my natural, innate, beautiful, intuitive gifts. And then also my personal experience of actually going through this, right? So I have those beliefs. I know that this can happen because I've done it myself. And when I did not believe that it could happen until I actually did it myself, I needed to go through that so that now I can literally witness and see that. Because when you're journeying with someone, their beliefs are a reflection as well. So, when you're journeying with me, I'm like, okay, like I know this is possible because I've done it and I've seen other people do it, right? And it's like infinite possibilities, right? This infinite potential.
Thank you so much
So
for joining us
welcome.
today. How did
Yeah.
people get in touch with you? We should talk about that really fast first.
Yes. Okay. So you have the link to my Facebook group, I believe. Yep. So
I
that
do.
you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Tash McCormick. And also, I will send my email. It's gratitudegoddess333@gmail.com. And yeah, so if you join our Facebook group or message me or email me, I can definitely send you. There's different guidelines on how to release inflammation for good. And yeah, releasing that burnout and stress as well. And yeah, or you can just shoot me a message and we can connect and go from there.
Awesome. I really do appreciate you joining me and having this conversation today.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm so glad we connected.
Me too.
Yeah.
So to learn more about Tash and to find the guide on autoimmune stress symptoms and burnout, please join our community on Facebook. It's called Wild Women Courageous Community, Reclaiming Our Feminine Flow and Freedom. And I will be sure to put those links in the show notes below. Thank you for tuning in with us today. If you have a podcast or are interested in starting one, be sure to reach out to us at support@heartlifecoach.com. We love to help spiritual entrepreneurs and coaches amplify their voice and monetize their mission and offer a variety of ways to do this, leveraging Substack. Join us for our next episode as we share what others are doing to raise the global frequency. And remember, change begins with you. You have all the power to change the world. Start today and get visible.